That's right. When you don't know what to do, just keep on breathing. From the City of Angels in Los Angeles and from well, I was going to say, and from the Big Apple in New York City, but we're not doing that. And from where do you live, Carletta?
Stevenson Ranch, California.
And from Santa Clarita Valley. Welcome to all my listeners out there in Radio Land. I am Dave, the caregiver's caregiver at caregiverdave.com. Normally with my lovely co-host Adrienne Gruberg, but she has to take a leave of absence because she has just too many doctor appointments. And it's so sad when you get to that point in life that all you do is manage doctor appointments. So we wish her well. But Carletta Cole has decided to try out her luck at being a co-host, and I think she'll do a very good job. And she is at caregiversafeplace.com. If any of you want to look her up, she's amazing. And we're also coming to you live and on demand 24/7 on numerous syndicated radio and podcast networks like iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Spreaker, SoundCloud, Vimeo, Stitcher, and the list goes on and on. And we are proud to be voted #1 caregiver podcast of the top 50 on Player FM and #2 caregiver podcast on FeedSpot out of the top 60 and #2 on caringvillage.com. And we have an especially exciting show planned for you today, don't we, Carletta?
Yes, we do.
See, we do. Vita Oyler is a rehabilitation counselor, MS, who helps people get back on their feet after illness, injury, and more. She's a counselor to not only her patients, but to their families as well. She has emphasis in dealing with chronic pain. She's the author of the upcoming book, Got Pain? Now What? Great title. But before we get started, I do want to take this moment and thank my last week's guest, Karen Owak, author of I've Got Some Good News and Some Bad News. You're Old. Tales of a Geriatrician and What to Expect in Your 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond. Actually, that was Dr. Bernstein. I don't know where I got that name from. He's a highly respected, award-winning physician, board certified in internal medicine and geriatric. Dr. Bernstein is a graduate of Albany Medical College and is an associate clinical professor at the University of South Florida College of Medicine. Karen Owak was on before him last week, and they were both gerontologists, so isn't that a coincidence?
Wow.
They were both great guests, and just to remind you, you can watch or listen to those interviews and all our interviews, including this one, on our membership website, caregiverdave.com, or any of our other 26 global networks that I tried to mention earlier. Okay, enough of that. Vita, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are so happy to have you on the Caregiver Dave show. And I always like to ask my guests just who is Vita Oyler and why was she placed on this earth?
Good question. Well, Vita Oyler, she's a person that loves people, and I love helping people. So I guess I was placed on this earth so that I could help others. And I love life, and I want others to love life too. Oh.
Well, that's good enough. Now, normally you sound like you would be an occupational therapist, but you're a rehabilitation counselor. So what's the difference?
Well, occupational deals primarily with things around, let's say, around your home. So if you needed something to, maybe cook or something, an occupational therapist will help you achieve those goals. A rehabilitation counselor kind of like oversees everything. And so we work with the occupational therapist, we do the counseling, we work with the doctors, and of course
the physical therapist and the speech therapist and
everybody. Yeah, we kind of like make sure everything is going smoothly.
And does every patient have one?
A rehab counselor? Yeah. No,
because I don't remember having one when my wife was in this hospital in 1996. That would have been nice.
That would have been nice. Not everybody gets a rehab counselor.
And why not? Who gets them and who doesn't?
I think you have, well, from what I know, you request it, and if, you know, a lot of times what happens if a person, let's say, has a stroke,
Mhm.
and they end up going to their doctor, a lot of times the social workers will take over.
Hmm.
And
That was
social
my
workers,
next question.
hmm?
That was my next question, to find out where the patient or the caregiver would reach out to, who they reach out to in the hospitals to obtain that.
Well, primarily with their doctor, but if you're in the hospital, you're going to have social workers. And there was once a a conflict between the social worker and the rehab counselor. We were more, I guess you could say, devoted to the rehab of the person. Social worker looks at everything. We're more counseling, and they're more everything.
I remember somebody in charge that I forget their title, but it had the word insurance in it.
Yeah.
They even might have worked for the insurance company
Mhm.
to just make sure that everything was good. Now, is that totally something different also?
A lot of times through insurance companies, rehab counselors will help people, like if they get a workers' comp claim,
Yeah.
and they will be assigned a rehabilitation counselor. And
Now,
they,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Carletta. What were you going to say?
Are you in what do you call that? The facilities, besides hospitals and everything like that, are you in like rehab facilities,
yeah,
or
oh yeah,
are you considered a specialty?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
It's a specialty.
okay.
Yeah, rehab counseling. And I actually got into it because I was hurt and I was assigned a rehab counselor. And I thought, wow, this is really a good way to help others, you know.
Yeah.
What was the extent of your injuries, and did you have chronic pain?
Oh gosh, yeah. Mine was just a little trivial type injury. I stepped on a rock when I was running. And from that, I developed a condition known as reflex sympathetic dystrophy while it was casted, because I had a cast put on my foot. And it was a journey of what is reflex sympathetic dystrophy and how am I going to get any help? Because, you know, I need to get going here. And but I ended up losing my leg after a few
Oh my
years.
gosh.
Oh, wow.
And
From a
yeah,
little rock.
I
Huh?
asked you that.
How little was the rock?
a little rock.
Little
I
rock.
was gonna ask, was that
Little
did
thing.
it bother your neurological system? Because you know
Yeah,
you have those nerves in the bottom of your foot, so I'm
yeah.
assuming that that is what it triggered.
Yeah. And thing is, they don't know what causes reflex sympathetic dystrophy. They
Wow.
don't know. There's no cure for it. And people that come down with it, it's usually after some kind of traumatic event. Mine was stepping on a rock. There's other people that I worked with that came down with reflex sympathetic dystrophy from a dental surgery or carpal tunnels. Carpal tunnel
Wow.
syndrome?
Paternal. Uh-huh.
Yeah, just minor things, which, by the way, I also developed carpal tunnel and I developed the RSD in my hands. That's why they're kind of red.
They're not going to amputate those, are they?
No, I'm afraid not.
Wow.
No,
Wow.
I've been pretty good at knowing what to do now for my reflex sympathetic dystrophy
And
and
it's funny because a number of those things you mentioned are due to neurological
yes,
disorders. So
yeah,
I'm wondering if it is from the neurological system that uh, it makes you have to go through those things because of
Yeah.
pressure
Yeah.
of the system.
Yeah, there's a possibility because what reflex sympathetic dystrophy does is it affects the nerves.
Mhm.
And that's why I had sympathectomies and all kinds of wonderful things, and around the spine to alleviate the pain and the condition. But it also affects your blood, your circulation, the muscles, the bones. It affects everything. So,
Yeah, I had a pinched nerve in my back for several years, and I don't know if it was chronic pain, but it seemed like it hurt all the time. And I couldn't even walk sometimes. I was using my wife's power wheelchair. I couldn't stand for more than 5 minutes, couldn't walk for more than 5 minutes. And I was just so, I don't want to say depressed, but frustrated that this
Yes.
pain would never go away. I mean, I gave up marijuana like 40 years ago, and someone
Mhm.
kept asking me, "Oh, have you tried medical marijuana? Have you tried?" Because it was hard to sleep. And I
Mhm.
says, after the 10th person asked me, I says, maybe I should, and I've got these gummy things, and it certainly helped me sleep, but it brought back a lot of memories that I didn't want, so I gave them up. But
Yeah.
I remember just telling people, yeah, I'm on the fast track. I'm getting ready to go see Jesus, because this life is just too painful for me here. And
I know.
and now I don't do that anymore because, the pain is gone. And it's amazing what chronic pain can do to your psyche.
Oh my
Yes.
So
God.
so how do we deal with chronic pain? I mean, besides
Oh,
suicide, for God
well,
forbid.
that was my thing. It was like after these treatments, first you're doing everything you can to get well, and you're working with your doctors, and then finally they tell you there's nothing we can do for you. You're just gonna have to learn how to live with the pain, and it's just
With
like,
drugs? Do they suggest drugs?
yeah, I mean, you're on opioids, and then I felt like I was a zombie, and
Yes.
can't think. That was not a life for me. So for me, it was okay. Vita, you need to take control of your life now. In spite of that pain, you've got to, you've got to move on, and you've got to find other ways to
Correct.
live. And that's how I ended up uh, not getting better. I still have the pain. I'm not going to say it goes away,
What
but
level?
you can control it. Sometimes I'm at an 8,
Wow.
sometimes I'm at a 5,
And
sometimes
do
I'm
you
at,
think it's
yeah.
mental?
Huh?
Do you think that it's mental? Because I know a lot of us, they say meditation and yoga and those things that
Yes.
it calms us, and it makes us focus on other things like breathing and all those things.
Yes. Yeah, it does. It does. It's pain, a lot of times a person doesn't want to hear from their doctor that, oh, it's all in your head. What do you mean it's in my head? But things that do help are here, that you can focus on other things
Exactly.
to get better or to let that pain go away. For instance, I focused. Well, firstly, I started making my little list. What were my goals going to be? Okay, I got pain. What am I going to do? I started making little lists on, get on with my life, and how I was going to do that. And so I was making goals, just little daily goal, and then a weekly goal, and then a monthly goal, and and it just progressed.
Are you married or have children in your household?
I was unable to have children because of the reflex sympathetic dystrophy. In fact, unfortunately I had a miscarriage, and that
Sorry.
that was devastating for both Tom and I.
Yeah.
So I mean, I lost on that part of it.
And how
But
did all this affect your marriage?
my marriage remained really strong, and
Good.
he
Good.
he was my caregiver in the sense where I wanted to do things myself, but he was always there, behind me, and
Yeah.
helping.
As any occupational therapist will tell you, teach your patient to do things for themselves. Otherwise, you'll create an invalid. And I assume you had a
Right.
healthy attitude like that.
Right.
And he did too.
Yeah. Well, the thing is with Tom, he was my strength. He gave me courage in a way. He just gave me that you could do it. You can do it, and I'm gonna love you in spite of. And
So
you know, so
fortunate.
for me it was that he recently passed away. So
Oh no.
God.
so I lost that so
And
real
he was a
close.
good guy. So many would divorce their spouse, say, "Hey, I didn't sign up for this," you know. So you had a good man there, and then you go ahead
Yeah, thanks.
and lose him. That is so tragic. How do
Yeah.
you handle all this tragedy?
Yeah. There's been quite a few things happening in my life, and you know, but I'm the kind of person where I look at things and even I was Tom's caregiver too.
Mm.
Wow.
But I look at things and I go, well, things are, you know, not always shiny and rosy and whatever, but I need to continue and do good.
But
And the only
you know,
way I can do that,
you're. I'm sorry for interrupting, but
I'm
it
sorry.
sounds like you're following a very basic formula for success, and that is take your mind off yourself and start helping others.
Yes.
And that's what you're doing.
That's
And
what I do.
what does that help the pain like
Oh
go
gosh.
away or not feel
Yes.
it or
Well, yeah, because again, you know, my pain might be painful and everything, but then I'm helping someone else.
Exactly.
And
that exactly.
I'm refocusing again on something different than me.
Right. And
You
that
know,
actually, that mental, when you focus on helping other people, is actually therapy.
yeah,
And I think that we as people, we need to recognize that and give credit where credit is due. Helping other people actually helps yourself because you then feel the love and you're able to give the love in order for you to feel better, especially for givers like us. We're actual natural born caregivers.
yeah,
So because of that, our mental is pleased when we're able to give to others and make them feel good and make them smile.
yeah.
yes,
And it doesn't take much either. I mean, I have a family member who was a recovering drug addict, who was anorexic. I mean, she had everything wrong with her and suicidal. And this little stray
Wow.
cat you know, out in the street, and she brought it home and it was sick and she nurtured it back. And she says that if it wasn't for this cat, I'd be dead because every morning I wake up and I says, no, I got to feed the cat. I got to give the cat his medicine. And it doesn't take much. Just take your eyes off yourself.
that's right. You know, for me, I have cats too, and I just love these little guys, and they keep me occupied. You know, someone might say, "Gee, Vita, you got a couple cats here."
Yeah, they don't care about your pain, do they? They just want to get
No,
fed.
no, and you know, and I care about them, and it's just like your friend. You just you look out for them, and all of a sudden your pain. If my pain's a 9 or an 8 right now, I will look at Moses. I got a cat named Moses. And if Moses is, you know, needing my care,
You forget
that's
about your own problems.
yeah. I go, hey, let's go. Let's do what we got to do. You know, so
Is it possible to, I mean, I always tell people, you know, when they tell me, you're so positive, you're always making jokes. And I says, well, if I don't laugh, I'm going to cry. So how
Yeah.
important is laughter
oh
in
God.
taking the place of crying?
Laughter. Laughter is really good. You know, it releases your endorphin.
Yeah.
So
Does the
it's a
body
good
even
thing.
know the difference between laughing and crying? Isn't it very
Oh yeah,
close
isn't that
emotion?
funny? Yeah, it knows the emotions.
Mhm.
Yes. And For me, laughter, if you smile, it's going to be hard to cry. So I try and always keep a smile. And if I see myself going frowning or, grimacing or whatever, I go, oh, wait, no, think of something funny. Think of, I even do that with my face sometimes. Push it up. And, then I'm doing okay, but I find that even watching my cats or watching something outside, you find things to smile about. Even your pain, I go, well, even my pain, my goodness. I was thrown just recently from my wheelchair 6 feet into the air, landed on the cement. It was in a parking lot.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
laughing about, well, the thing is, I had two men, one guy pulling me on one arm and the other man pulling me on the other arm. They're going, come on, let's get you to your wheelchair, because my wheelchair stayed behind.
Wow.
And it just went. And as that happened, I'm just going, well, I'm sorry, but I don't have a leg. I can't really walk. And then they went, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you. Well, you don't have anything there.
So it's about this time that I would normally yell at my wife. I says, "Were you wearing your seatbelt? Hello." That's how she fell out of her chair and broke her ankle, because she went off of a curb. So she
Well, I
tries
probably
to
would
wear her
rather
seatbelt
be
from now on.
thrown from the wheelchair than the wheelchair to tip over on top of me. So
Well,
maybe
that is a
it
slight
saved her.
possibility, yes.
Yes.
But you got to figure, what's the worst of the two evils?
Right.
But but my point was, instead of crying, there was even a city councilman that saw the whole thing, and he goes, "Are you okay? Are you all right?" And I'm not. First, I was shocked, and then I found it to be funny. I mean, and they even laughed.
And then you went to the hospital.
I go, come on, let's all laugh. It's good.
I hope you went to the hospital for a checkup, at least.
But laughter, movies, good old movies, watching some good old movies, taking breaks from the stress that we have every day.
Yes.
Find something funny to
Yes.
to
Now
look at.
we're running out of time, so I want to
I'm sorry.
get to support groups.
Yes.
So tell me the importance of support groups.
Support groups, very important. If you're the patient and you have chronic pain, I started support groups for RSD, and it was very therapeutic, because you hear what the other person's saying or what they're going through. And I think support groups are really a major part of getting better.
How does it help hearing that the next guy has a pain greater than yours, or maybe not as great as yours, and someone else chimes in and says, well, have you tried this or have you tried that? It's helpful, I'm assuming.
No, it is helpful, because what you're doing is you're sharing when you're supporting each
Sharing
other.
the pain.
Yeah, so you're talking about pain and you go, well, mine's a 20 and mine's a 1, 10 is the most that they agree to do on, but
of course.
You tend to empathize or really sympathize with that person, and that person is releasing how they feel, their pain level. And then the guy that's got number one, one level, and he's maybe suggesting, well, what I do, I started eating natural foods. I started avoiding, foods that have
inflammation.
inflammation. Yeah,
Right.
like red meat and stuff. It causes a lot of it can cause inflammation. So you're sharing. And I think support groups, if you can go to, I guess anybody here with doctors and find support groups. But it's important, I think, to reach out and get in a group. And they also have support groups for the families
Yeah.
too. And that's
Caregiver
really
support, yeah.
important because it's another release for that
Yeah.
person that is the caregiver.
Yes.
So
It's,
tell us what you want people to get out of your new book, which is called You're Sick, Now What?
got
Oh, got pain.
now what?
Like got
Okay,
milk.
now what? What do I do? And navigating through pain. And basically what the book is going to be about, or is about, when it comes out in April. But it's going to show how you can learn to live with the pain, the steps you can take, things that you can do. You talked about meditation and certain mindfulness, prayer, because that's a form of meditation.
Yes.
Eating foods that probably don't have a lot of, well, I'm saying that,
Comfort food.
yeah, and trying to avoid a lot of processed foods.
Yes.
If you can, and the red meats. And I just address all that in the book so that a person could, see that there is hope, there's hope. I mean, I don't don't like to leave a person out there with chronic pain, and
Sure.
just leave them isolated, because that's what happens. You're so isolated and you become negative and you become angry. And
a lot of it is more so too, you have to make sure that you're feeling the love, because a lot of it is, if someone loves on you, and it makes your pain go away faster, because you forget, when you're sitting and you're dormant and you're waddling in your misery, you can't feel the love. So it's more so like, oh, poor me. But if you have someone that's there encouraging you, you can do it. You can push through this pain. You look lovely today. You forget all about your pain because someone told you look lovely. Your hair is beautiful. Like Dave, that always tell me my hair looks beautiful every single time he sees me.
Well, you're a hairdresser.
But
there's three hairdressers in my family. I'm very aware of hair.
But
listen, I can't believe how fast our time has gone today. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Vita. How can people get a hold of you if they want to learn more about the book or just pick your brain about pain?
Well, they can get a hold of me. I've got Navigating Through Pain.
That's another book?
No, it's actually my website.
Okay. Navigatingthroughpain.com.
Navigatingthroughpain.com.
Okay. Great.
And then also I have the email at navigatingthroughpain@gmail.com.
All right.
And hopefully I'd be able to help people out. Oh, and Facebook under Vita Oyler Chronic Pain.
Awesome. Carletta, you're new on our show. How do people get a hold of you, and what is your deal? You got 2 minutes. Now you got 1 minute.
You can get a hold of me at caregiversafeplace.com, or on Facebook, Caregiver Safe Place. On Instagram, you can get a hold of me, Caregiver Safe Place, or CCCOLE30 on Instagram.
Yes, and Carletta helps caregivers have a caregiver so they can go on a vacation, and I help caregivers go on vacation. So it seemed like we should be doing things together. So we're going to try and discuss what form that'll take. So thank you everybody for tuning in like you do. And remember, all our shows are recorded pod and video cast on all your favorite platforms. And remember my newly released book, Secrets from the Hammock, Uncommon Wisdom for Uncommon Times, Changing Lives All Over the World. And my Facebook page, 34,000 followers, Caregiver Dave. And if you click the like or follow button on whatever platform you're watching or listening to this interview, it helps us reach even more caregivers. So thank you again for helping us be #1 caregiver. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.